Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 196. Tesla is still setting new records in Europe and BEVs are still rising. And I took the Tesla Model 3 refresh standard range for a spin this week, and boy, will this hurt the old legacy automakers. And GM's Cruise, amidst their so-called Level 4 autonomy, needs human supervision. So, they lied. And we got to see the Cybertruck take on some really tough terrain. And we also got some leaked specs about the Cybertruck as well. And Mercedes is cutting prices on pretty much all their cars, while BMW is saying price cuts are not their strategy. And Lucid swallows a bitter pill. And the busted growth story of Tesla continues to grow. All of this and much more on today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Tesla is setting new records in Europe, and the BEVs are still rising. Thanks to more great charts from Roland, we could see the majority of European market has reported their October numbers, but not all, so we should expect a couple of thousand more. But still, this is the best October ever in Tesla's history in Europe, by a lot. It will probably end up being 3 times as high as last year, and could become the best first month of a quarter in Europe in Tesla's history. So Tesla is still growing fast in Europe. But one thing to notice is that the new refreshed Model 3 has started deliveries, and we can see the Model 3 sales are actually kind of keeping up with the Model Y sales here in November, which is very unusual. The Model Y outsells the Model 3 by many multiples in most months. So we can see the effect of the refreshed Model 3 coming to market, and this should definitely help Tesla get some pretty high numbers in November and December, making a nice sprint at the end of the year. And last month, a plug-in vehicle share of the overall car market in Europe was 25%. 17% was fully BEVs. With that result, 2023 plug-in vehicle share remains at 23% and 16% for BEVs alone. Remember how Toyota is aiming for 17% BEV market share in 2030. We're already here in Europe, and China is already at 25%. So good luck, Toyota, with that plan to fail. But if we look at the global market, there is still only one, and that is Tesla's Model Y. January to September, it is closing in on 900,000 units sold. The runner-up in the pure BEV category, and not BYD's plug-in hybrids there, is the Tesla Model 3. Then comes the BYD's Auto 3, and then the Dolphin, and the last in the top 5 is a GAC's Ion Y. There are only 3 models from the legacy automakers on this list. The rest is Tesla ruling the top, and all the Chinese. And if we look at the top selling automotive group and brand, Tesla is still pretty far ahead of BYD, but BYD could overtake Tesla in Q4, but the year still seems to belong to Tesla. And the Volkswagen Group that said they could catch up to Tesla is closer to dropping out of the top 5 list here than catching Tesla. Tesla's single model sold close to 900,000, and the entire Volkswagen Group sold 510,000. Even if we let Volkswagen get all their stupid hybrids included on the list, they still don't get close to Tesla's sales of just the Model Y. But they need more models. And it was only a couple of years ago so many people were saying that the Volkswagen Group would take the crown from Tesla. Maybe because Bloomberg Intelligence made a complete fool of themselves. Remember this article from mid-2022? The sad thing is that they even got the 2022 numbers wrong. But they expected Volkswagen to make about 1.5 million BEVs in 2023, this year. I mean, I didn't trust them back then, and I made a whole video about it, because not even Volkswagen was saying this. I don't know what Bloomberg Intelligence was smoking, but Volkswagen themselves have said 1.5 million in 2023. 2025. That is the biggest number that I have ever heard from Volkswagen. But Bloomberg thought, no, they will ramp up much quicker than that, and wrote this nice little article about how Volkswagen would overtake Tesla's battery electric vehicle sales crown by 2024. No wonder there are so many confused people out there saying the competition is coming for Tesla. But nothing has been more clear than Volkswagen is being left in the dust, and they are now even slowing down their EV production. The entire Volkswagen group will not even beat Tesla's single Model Y in 2023. We all get a lot of stuff wrong all the time, but to call this a research from Bloomberg Intelligence is just embarrassing. Let's see if Volkswagen will even be in the top 5 list of best-selling BEVs manufacturers in 2024. But the global BEV market in September got to 12% market share, so crossing that tipping point, entering the steep part of the adoption curve. And in today's fast-paced world, finding time to read and learn new stuff can be a challenge. But that is where Blinkist comes in, the sponsor of this video. The app that brings you key insight from 6,500 top non-fiction books in a very small package. If you don't know what Blinkist is, well, they take all the key takeaways from a whole book or podcast and make them into these small 15-minute blinks. So you can absorb the main point of a whole book in just 15 minutes. So whether you're running, brewing coffee, waiting, or just taking a quick break, Blinkist fits into your life with ease. And a feature called Spaces allows you to create a space with friends and family where you can recommend titles to each other. All members of the shared space can access all titles in the space with or without Blinkist premium subscription. So that is exactly what I have done, made a space called Best in Tesla Learning Space, and dozens of people have already joined my space. I personally love Simon Siek's book The Infinite Game, a book most leaders of the legacy automakers should read to understand to not focus on the short-term gain but play the infinite game. And they can learn all of that in only 23 minutes. And so can you. Start your 7-day free trial today and turn waiting time into learning time with Blinkist. Get a special discount of 60% on Blinkist annual premium, valued only until November 21st. So don't wait and miss this one. Start your free trial today by clicking my link down in the description box or scan the QR code on the screen. And get smarter, faster. And a big thanks to Blinkist for sponsoring this video. I took the new refreshed Model 3 standard range for a spin this week, and boy, will this hurt the legacy automakers. Because the value for money for the standard range is just insane. You get all the great stuff included in the standard range, like safety assist features, ventilated seat, screen in the back, awesome sound system, and it has 554 kilometers WLTP range. That is almost on par with my 2019 long-range Model 3. So the range is now also good enough for the standard range Tesla. And this is a rare thing in the industry. They usually have some cheap entry-level thing with so bad specs that nobody wants to buy it, but they can show a very low from price, but not Tesla. This is some amazing specs on this entry-level car. And it only have 170 kilowatts of charging speed, but the battery itself is only 57.5 kilowatts, so it is actually not bad either. Remember, something like the F-150 Lightning has up to 135 kilowatt hours of battery pack, but can only charge with 150 kilowatt. So even though this is the worst Tesla has, it is better than most others out there. And compare it to the ID.3 Pro S that has the same range as the standard Tesla here, and that is the longest range you can get on the ID.3 here in Denmark, and that has a 77 kilowatt hour usable battery, so 20 kilowatt hours more than the standard range Tesla, but have the same range. A very good showcase of Tesla's efficiency and how far behind Volkswagen is. Remember, the ID.3 is a much smaller car and inferior in every way, and the Pro S is more expensive than the Tesla Model 3 standard range refreshed. This This is madness. Volkswagen, you truly need to cut your prices of the ID.3 here in Europe, but that is nothing new. I said that back in 2020 when I test drove the ID.3. It's a little nice electric car, but it's just too expensive for what you get, and Tesla has just made this more true than ever by an order of magnitude. I mean, who is going to buy the ID.3 now? And I guess not many, as we can also see in Germany in October, only 916 ID.3s were sold in Germany. This is a year-over-year drop of 57%. So not even the Germans want to buy the ID.3 anymore. Like I said in my first look of the refreshed Model 3, this car will hurt the Germans. And this car pretty much makes all their EVs a no-brainer not to get. But more importantly, it makes the ICE cars completely financial suicide. And then we hear this week that Elon said that the next generation compact car will be built in the Berlin factory. Boy, this is going to absolutely kill the ICE car here in Europe and cut the German OEMs off by their knees. But I did make a whole video about it this week, so if you want to learn more, check that one out. Link is down below. But Tesla is really hurting the old guys here in Europe, and right now it is the refreshed Model 3 combined with the Model Y that is the best-selling car in Europe. I think we could have a really nice Q4 waiting for us here in Europe for Tesla. And we did see the Tesla Model 3 should have the HEPA filter inside as well, so that is very cool if that is the case, because I did not see the biodefense mode button in my refreshed Model 3 like it does in the Model Y and the Model S and the X. But if it has the HEPA filter, that is pretty cool that they were able to fit that into this much smaller car. GM's Cruise confirms a robotaxi rely on human assistance every 4 to 5 miles. Yeah, that is not autonomous, man. Or level 4. That is just a lie. Cruise tells a CNBC it worked with roughly one remote assistant agent per every 15 to 20 driverless vehicles in the fleet before grounding operation last month. Yeah, that sounds like such a scalable solution, right? And needing assistant every 4 to 5 miles on a system that is basically a car on digital rail. What a joke Cruise system is. And Holmas shared some details that we of course cannot confirm is 100% true, but alarming nonetheless if it is true. As he wrote, a Cruise worker who was left off today shared this information with me, basically saying that the Cruise Level 4 autonomy is completely a lie. There is intervention and supervision all the time when the cars are out on the roads. The executive higher up wanted more cars on the road. Even though we brought up issues the cars were having, they did not care. They just wanted more vehicles on the road to have more funding and make shareholders happy. Cruise autonomous vehicle cannot see small children and animals on the road when they are out on autonomous mode. If this is true, this is a huge scandal, and I doubt we will hear much more from Cruise down the road. Even though Dan O'Dawn thought they were much better software, were much far ahead of Tesla's bad software. What a clown show. This has nothing to do with fully autonomous vehicle. This is nothing but a cheap, or should I say, expensive party trick that will never be able to scale up. How Navigant, or Guidehouse as they were called before, a consultancy company, can make a chart like this with Tesla dead last in full self-driving capabilities and Cruise among the leaders is just embarrassing. And yes, you can buy the whole report on autonomy for just $4,000 because complex journey demands a trusted guide. That's us. Yeah, I think I'll just do some thinking for myself instead of trusting your suspicious work here. But look like more lies from GM with their so-called level 4 autonomous driving. That was actually more like level 2, as they need human supervision every 4 miles. GM is really digging their own grave as fast as they can, as this Cruise adventure has been losing GM $1.9 billion just this year. So we will probably see Cruise disappear into the sunset as the business model is not sustainable. Tesla is pretty much the only one that has a business case where Tesla actually earn money on their full self-driving software already today, as it is today, before they get to robotaxi. There is just no competition for Tesla in this space. And we got some nice pictures of the Cybertruck this week, taking on some really tough terrain. And we got to see the Cybertruck spotted in the woods this week by Garage Club that rode on X. Random meetup in Tahoe National Park. Subaru off-road crew meets Tesla's Cybertruck team in action. Word is the electric beast holds its own on rough terrain, just like a Subaru. Gear up for an off-road revolution. Nice. And Drive Canada added some context to where this truck was driving. 2 Cybertrucks spotted off-roading in Tahoe National Park, handling a level 4 trail like a boss. 4 difficult trails. These trails traverse a very rough terrain, water crossing 24 inches, large rock 15 inches, deep mud, steep declines, slight hills 30 degrees, low range 4-wheel drive and higher than stock ground clearing is required, aggressive tread and low air pressure are required, traction devices in the differentials, lift and larger tires are recommended. These trails requires above average off-road driving skills. Multiple attempts to clear obstacle will be required. There will likely be paint damage and possible vehicle body or mechanical damage. High lift and winches are recommended. Yes, paint and body damage. Well, that is only for your normal pickup trucks like the fragile F-150, right? Not the beast that is built for the future, that doesn't even have a paint job, or those bodies are made of stainless steel. Yeah. Jim Varley, are you ready for the off-road revolution? Seems like this Cybertruck thing will be able to hold its own against any pickup truck out there. So guess it is a real pickup truck after all. And we also did see this video this week where the Cybertruck climbs up this badass hill. And we did get some leak specs about the car as well, but we still don't know if these specs are real, so take it with a grain of salt, so I'm not going to go through them all. But if this is true, it seems like the Cybertruck will have its 500 miles of range and a bigger bed than the F-150 pickup truck. And we did also see 3 outlets in the back of the Cybertruck, 210 volts and one 220 volts. And we also saw friends driving the Cybertruck in matte black wrap. That is looking sick. I think Batman is sitting somewhere thinking, I want that. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. A big surprise. Lucid has announced they will adopt Tesla's North American charging standard starting in 2025. But it was only 4 months ago. Lucid CEO Peter was out saying it was just a plug, it didn't matter. And only 2 years ago, they tried to convince their investors that Lucid's solution with Electrify America was better than Tesla's charging network. But now they come crawling back. As Elon wrote on X replying to Holmar's posting about it, that must have been a bitter pill to swallow. And as Holmars wrote, imagine being Rawlinson. You just signed a deal with Tesla and their CEO is laughing at you for having to do it. Yeah, not easy being up against Tesla. Maybe this is because Lucid had got Corey from Monroe Associate on board and he is actually knocking some sense into Lucid that they will lose all their customers if they only have access to Electrify America's joke of a charging network. And we got another example this week of just how bad Toyota's BZ4X does in cold weather. It was charging on a 150 kilowatt Electrify Canada charger and had only 13% left on the battery. The temperature was 3 degrees Celsius, but it charged for 82 minutes with an average of 33 kilowatt charging speed, only adding 231 kilometers, about 144 miles. Toyota, this is embarrassing. Anyone that does just a little bit of research will never buy that BZ4X. It's simply one of the worst BEVs out there. No wonder that Toyota reduced their BEV target by 40%. Who is ever going to want this EV. And AJ, as usual, had some great charts for us this week, showing us cumulative quarterly cash flow from since inception of these 7 EV startups. And we can see Tesla, of course, having positive cash flow now, but also started by burning cash, but was actually better than pretty much all on this list, even in the beginning. And we can see Lucid is the one that is burning through cash the quickest. But Rivian is also still burning through a lot of cash, but as we can see, they are starting to lose less money per vehicle sold, so hopefully we should see their trend starting to turn around within a couple of years. And after XAI revealed Grok last week, we've seen a lot of great videos about what the potential could mean for Tesla. But one thing that will of course happen, in my opinion, is that we will get a voice assistant in Tesla with Grok. And this could really be a game changer of how we interact with our cars, not just by giving it demands as we know today.
Open butthole.
But as Grok has access to live content on X, we would be able to get a whole new conversation going with our Tesla. We could get answers to pretty much any question we come up with. And with humor built into Grok, we could expect some fun conversations with our Teslas.
Do you wish further information on Silicon Valley?
Hell no, I want to know who you are and how you're listening in.
I am the voice of Night Industry 2000's microprocessor, KITT for easy reference, a kit if you prefer.
No, I don't prefer, and what's more, I don't intend to drive around in a car that talks back to me, so either Devin pulls your plug, or you get yourself another driver.
And this year, Tesla sales in the US with October numbers surpassed the sales of all of last year's, with 2 of the biggest months to go. So already a new record that is going to be even higher by the end of the year. And to put these numbers into perspective, here is a little illustration of Tesla's rise to the top of the luxury car market in the US, overtaking all the old Germans, and just continues to rise even bigger. And as I just showed, 2023 will be yet another pretty big record. What a busted growth story. And with some great production and delivery numbers in China in October, we see that Tesla's Model 3 refresh is already at full production pretty much. And in January to October's period, BYD was of course number 1 with 36% of market share of new energy vehicles, so including hybrids of course, and Tesla was number 2 with 7.8%, and NIO was number 9 with 2.1%. But as you can see, no legacy automakers is to be found on this list except GM's involvement in the little Wuling Mini EV. But other than that, it's only Tesla and the Chinese that are found on this top 10 list of new energy vehicles in the biggest car market on the planet. And in the January to October period, Tesla sold 771,171 China-made vehicles, up 39% from a year earlier. Does not sound like a car company in trouble in China, does it? And after all the retooling of the Model 3 line, it seems like Tesla is already back to pretty much normal level of production. Very impressive. And we have been hearing from the Tesla Qs ever since Tesla started price cuts how this was a bad sign of weak demand. But wonder what they have to say now when Mercedes is doing price cuts on pretty much all their models. As Alex wrote on X, the first price reduction for vehicles were implemented in October, and in November new models were included and discount partly increased. It seems like a desperate measure to create demand. All BEV models including new ones with discount. Guess what? Mercedes-Benz has been heavily advertising for many years. But as Elon also replied to this post, other car makers have delayed reaction to the market as they ship to dealers rather than selling directly. Yes, many disadvantages being old-school automakers compared to Tesla. But discounting all EVs when Mercedes was out last week admitting they were losing a lot of money on selling EVs, and then we see them discounting their EQC with 20% in October and 20% again in November. This is not coming from a position of strength as Tesla's price cuts were. Tesla is still earning money on their EVs. Remember, Mercedes was down in revenue, EBIT and net profits in Q3. And the dealers said that it was harder to sell their EVs than their ICE cars. So this is not looking too good for Mercedes. And Polestar just announced that they will be seeking external funding in the form of additional debt and equity raising. This is something AJ has talked about before in his research that they needed to do. So as we can see, even though you make a nice electric car does not mean that you're home safe yet. Getting to high volume and profitability is very hard, as Elon has said many times before. And the car dealership guy on X shared why this high interest rate is hurting the dealers and could put them out of business. From a banking executive that loans money to dealers to buy inventory. 15% interest rate on inventory floor plan is high, but I'm seeing some dealers paying higher right now. Speaking from experience, these are crazy numbers. Cars cannot sit on lots very long under these conditions. And last week we saw Tesla raise the price of specific Model Ys in the US and the black color as well. And now we see Tesla rise prices in China as well, both on the Model 3 and the Model Y. So from all the people that claim that Tesla was doomed with the price cut and just needed to advertise some more because they are losing money on all these price cuts, what do they say now when Tesla now is rising some prices again? No demand problem? Well, it could indicate that we have reached the bottom of the price cuts here, so that is good news. And we also see that the wait time has gone up from certain models. And Facade made this nice chart that showed the different trends from Rivian and Lucid, where we can see Rivian is clearly getting their losses down quarter over quarter, whereas Lucid, well, their trend looks a little bit different. And a big shout out to Scott Walter, who took this insane picture from his roof of his Starlink dish with the launch of the Falcon rocket behind it. I mean, this is an amazing shot, Scott, in making a SpaceX logo out of the Starlink dish and the SpaceX launch. Very well done. And Elon was on the Lex Fridman podcast again, and they did of course talk about AI and Tesla's full self-driving and how Tesla never taught its full self-driving neural network to read, but it learned to read by itself the road signs just by watching videos. And as Elon also said, the same thing goes from the Tesla robot. It learns everything it does by watching videos or watching other humans do a task and then try to mimic that. And Elon thinks that within a year, with Elon's optimism built in, of course, that the robot will be able to pick up a needle and thread the needle. As this is a task a human hand can do, and Optimus hands are built very close to ours, so it should be able to mimic almost everything we can do. The next couple of years is going to be very interesting. And the Boulder Comp big battery in Queensland has been given an all clear to operate at full capacity. The battery will be operated by Tesla using its Autobidder system, and the two companies will share the profits under a unique agreement. The Boulder Combo battery will deliver a significantly uplift in revenue for Genex and is expected to bring in about $15 million a year to Genex under its revenue sharing deal with Tesla. Nice. This energy business of Tesla has hardly started. Hope you are ready for some exponential growth over the next couple of years. And Rivian announced on X, we are incredibly excited to launch our Rivian commercial van to fleet customers across the country. Around a quarter of the CO2 emitted in the transportation sector in the US comes from commercial vans. Businesses can help cut emission and make a difference. Amen to that. Nice to see Rivian launch this important product both for their company and also for cleaner air. And BMW CEO Zipser is out saying some funny things again. We have no interest in lowering prices in order to gain market share. That is not our strategy, and as you can see, we are managing growth significantly, even with very acceptable prices. Sure, if you call that growth, basically flat over the last 4 quarters in their BEV sales. But BMW, you just keep digging your grave. You are doing such a great job at it. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my newest members and patrons of this YouTube channel. My 2 new YouTube members, Jenna Duray and Henry Stockholm. And my new Patreon producers, Vance Martin. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. A little video of the competition coming for Tesla. that is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And don't forget, if you want to become an executive producer and get some news article during the week, some exclusive videos, early access, and access to all my research and spreadsheets and chart, head over to Best in Tesla and join with the members button. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to a donation options in the show notes. And also as simple as hitting the super like button. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.